So question 8, the 8.1, it says the diagram below shows the graph of f of x, which is equals to 2x cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. They give us points j, k, and l are the x-intercept, and g the y-intercept. So already you're following. These are already we have the x-intercepts and the y-intercept, right? Okay, the y-intercept we don't have it. We have the coordinates of all of our x-intercepts, and then they say m and n are the turning points, and h the point of inflection of f. Okay, so before we even jump into answering, let us look at this. So I just want to hear from you guys just to see your knowledge. When they say turning point, what is it that you guys know about turning point? We looked at them even yesterday, but then what is it that you guys know about turning points? Just tell me that, and also this word, point of inflection. What is it that you know about these two?
The point of inflection ke turning point yeah, the derived form yeah, that graph.
Okay.
Then
What about the turning point?
the turning point ke there should be a maximum and a minimum.
Okay, okay. So no, you have an idea. So with now we are dealing with our graph of f, right? F of
Mm.
f. So for us to find a turning point, we are going to have to derive f, right? Take it to the first derivative and equate it to zero. That's how we are going to find these two guys. And then in terms of the point of inflection, we are going to take f to the second derivative and equate it to zero. Yeah? I think that's what you are trying to say about point of inflection.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So with a turning point, basically what it tells us is that it's basically where our graph changes from being an increasing graph, an increasing function to a decreasing function, right? It's just basically that. And then for our point of inflection, now that's where our graph changes concavity. So it changes where from being either concave up to concave down or from concave down to concave up. So basically at the point of inflection, it is neither of the two. So it is not concave up and it is not concave down. So because that's where concavity changes. Sharp. Let's now go to 8.1.1. So they say determine the values of B, C, and D in the equation of F, right? So already, let me just take it here, 8.1.1, yeah? Okay, now let me do this. 8.1.1, we were given f of x to be what? 2x cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. So now they say that we must determine the values of B, C, and D. Yeah? What are we gonna do? We have to, and it's a nice format. It's a nice format question. So number one, we have to use what we are given, and what we can use so far is our x-intercepts. Yeah? So I'm sure you are familiar with this equation that I'm about to show you now. F of x is equals to a, and then we have x minus x1, x minus x2, right? That's from functions from what's this? From parabola, quadratic function, right? But then usually with a cubic function, we are going to have x minus x3. Let me mute this person. Okay, yeah. So as I'm saying, guys, the x1, x2, and x3, they basically represent my x-intercepts, my values of my x-intercepts. So this is one of the ways that I can use to find the equation of my function, right? So now, given my x-intercepts and also my value for a, because this 2 here represents my value for a, because if we were to write this formula in terms of letters, we would have f of x is equals to ax squared, no, ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d, right? So that's our a, and in this case, our a is positive, which means our graph will be something like this, as you can see there. Nah? So this is just the knowledge that you are expected to have before attempting a question like this. That's the basic knowledge that you should have. So already for my value for a, I'm just going to substitute now. What's this? 2. Then I'm going to keep the x, and it's x minus, right? So my first, let me erase here. My first x-intercept is -1. So I'm going to have x minus -1, which will just be x plus 1. Then I go to my second one. It's going to be a half now. So I'll have x minus a half. And then the last one is 3, which is my x-intercept. So I'll have x minus 3. So from there, I'm just working everything out. Né? So I'll start with the brackets. So with 3 brackets, you don't have to worry a lot of how you're going to, expand them and stuff like that. So you're just going to deal with 2 brackets just as you know. So we'll start with the first 2. Let's start with these 2. So we'll have x squared. And then after here, what will we have? Minus half x. And then we'll have plus x. And then we'll have minus a half, right? And then this bracket will just multiply it with the last one, which is x minus 3. So let me just put my like terms together. It is x squared. So x minus half x, that's just going to be plus half x, then minus a half, then we have x minus 3. So just to do everything now, I'm just going to multiply these 2 brackets again. So it will, this term, the first term, I'm going to multiply it with basically all the terms here, as well as my second term, I'm going to multiply it with all the terms. Yeah? Just to clear the confusion if there is any. So let's see. So I'll have x squared times x, that's going to be x cubed. So you see now that's where we get our x cubed now. And then I'll have, what's this? Plus half x times x, that's going to be half x squared. And then minus negative half times x, that's going to be minus half x. So that's my first part. Then I'm going to have negative 3 times x squared, that's minus 3x squared. And then negative 3 times half x, that's going to be negative 3 over 2x. And then negative 3 multiplied by negative half, that's going to be positive 3 over 2. So from here, I'm just going. So this is basically just pure maths. Né? This is what you guys know. I am very certain that you guys know this. So let me just put my like terms together. So, okay, to just not even make it a complicated thing, I can just start by multiplying out the two. Then I can start by distributing the two everywhere. So it will be 2x cubed plus, already you can see this. If I say half x squared times 2, they are going to cancel. So I'm going to have x squared, then minus, same thing, x, then minus 6x squared, then
Tsebo, sorry for this step. O misitse minus half x. A ba di multiply.
I okay, let's see. So I said 2 times x cubed, right? That's 2x
Mm.
cubed. Then I had
Ah, modima eo, modima eo.
wait.
Na go multiply bracket tse tse ithutse.
Okay,
Mm.
are you certain about that? So let me check.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I get it.
So I'm gonna just multiply everything.
Mm.
So we are gonna have x cubed, right?
Mm.
And then it's going to be plus half x squared. And then after it's going to be minus half x. Is that okay? Right?
Mm.
Then from there we are going to say minus 3x squared. Yeah?
Mm.
Because we're multiplying this guy and this guy. Then we are going to say now minus 3 over 2x. And then we are going to have plus now 3 over 2. And I think that's what I had. But okay.
Maybe.
So
Sure.
now we multiply out the 2. Né? So basically I'm going to distribute this 2 to everybody in the bracket. So this is not that complicated, guys. But you can easily make a mistake. So just kind of be careful when you're doing a question like this. So it will be 2x cubed um, plus x squared. So just taking mine, né? I'm just distributing the 2 in every term. Né? And then it's going to be minus x. And then it's going to be minus 6x squared. And then it's going to be minus 3x, and then it's going to be plus 3. So far, so good, man. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So I'm just going to group my like terms together. So this is now my f of x. So I will have nope, 2x cubed. So I have x squared minus 6x squared. That's going to be minus 5x squared. And then I'm going to have negative x minus 3x, which will be minus 4x. And lastly, I just have the plus 3, right? So when you're here, you're not done because they said they want the values of B, C, and D. So you must mention them. That therefore, my value for B is negative 5, which is this guy. My value for C is negative 4. My value for D is 3. Yeah? And now you are good, you're okay. You have gotten those values, you're okay. So yeah. Okay, let me see. I think someone joined. Lucas, who's Lucas? Okay. Yeah. So far, are we good? Let's hear, guys. I think I muted you, so you have to unmute yourself. But thank you for that, Dumela. Thank you for that. Mm, mhm. Okay. Let me move on to the next one. So now we are comfortable. We found our formula, found our equation. So now they say 8.1.2. So yeah, you did 8.1.1. You are good. You move on to 8.1.2. They say if it is given that f of x is equals to 2x cubed minus 5x squared minus 4x plus 3, which is what we got. Then now they say determine the coordinates of n. So they just want n, yeah? Which is now the turning point of f. So they only want the coordinates of n. So before we even attack it, already we know in terms of turning point, n is my minimum turning point, right? And then m will be now my maximum turning point. Just take that into consideration. And then now, yeah, 8.1.2. To get our turning point, we must take our first derivative and equate it to 0. So we are just going to do exactly that. Let me erase here. So 8.1.2, my first derivative is going to be what? So I'm going to say 2 times 3, that's 6x squared, and then minus 10x, and then minus 4. So in terms of functions, this is now my quadratic function or my parabola. Yeah? This is my parabola. Okay, so I have my parabola and then I have to equate it to 0. So now look, 6x squared minus 10x minus 4 is equals to 0. But then take into consideration, usually when I do this, when I equate my equation to 0, that's when I'm looking for my x-intercept. So it tells you something that for now, my parabola, my x-intercepts will be what? The turning point of my cubic graph. Right? I think I said this yesterday, if I remember properly, but it's basically that. So before we can rush into, you know, doing our brackets, we have a common factor. So we have a common factor of 2. So we'll just take out that common factor. We'll have 3x squared minus 5x 1 minus 2 equals 0. So this 2 will just fall out. Then we have 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 equals 0. So when you're here, because I know a lot of you guys, most of you guys, you struggle to, what's this, to just factorize this trinomial, né? That has where x squared has a coefficient that is greater than 1. So what you can do when you're here, you can just go to your quadratic formula quickly because we are looking for the values, right? Or I can just use this method that I'm comfortable with. So basically, you can just do anything that you're comfortable with. So for me, my method, I just take the factors of my coefficient of x squared and also the factors of my constant. So it's only 1 and 3, right? Because it's a prime number. So I'm also going to write it backwards, which is 3 and 1. Then also for 2, it's just 1 and 2, 2 and 1. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cross multiply them. And then the rules still stay the same. So let me just write out my brackets. equate to 0. So I'm subtracting. So when I cross multiply these factors, I must subtract them and I must get a value of 5. So I'm just going to say, what's this? 3 times 1, that's 3. So minus, né? So basically I'm saying 3 times 1, that's 3 minus 1 times 2. That's 2. So 3 minus 2, it gives me 1. So I'm not getting my 5. So this doesn't work. So I go to the other one. I try the next one. I say 3 times 2, that's 6. Let me write it here. And I must subtract it with what? 1 times 1, that's 1. And I get 5. So already I know that these are uh, my lucky numbers. Sharp. So when I write them down into my brackets, I'm just going to write them like this, straight. Ne? So this is 1, ne? But you know that the first part must be the what's this, the letter, the x, right? So I'm going to have x, then here I'm going to have 2. So basically these make up my first bracket, then even here they make up my second bracket. So here it'll be 3x and 1. Then now it's just a matter of me putting my bracket, my signs. So I see it, I have a negative sign here, so they are going to be different. I'm going to have a plus here and a minus in the other one. Then that means that this is a negative, so my what's this? My bigger number will have a negative. So I have 2 times 3x, that's 6x. Which year is this question paper for? Lucas. Who's Lucas, by the way? Because I don't know. Okay, 2 times 3x, that's 6x. And then x times 1, that's x, right? So my bigger number is basically here. So my negative will be here. My positive will be there. So let me talk to this person. Lucas, how are you? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, it's actually Tsebo, but I'm using my brother's
Oh,
laptop.
okay. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm also good. Now I'm surprised because I'm like, Lucas. Whoa, not with
Yeah.
Lucas. But okay, yeah, we are just doing what's this paper? I sent them in the group chat. Ne? I sent them in the group chat. But it's
Oh, okay, sure.
yeah, I sent a list yesterday. So just go back to our chats, then you'll see. So okay,
Okay.
let me just continue, guys. So obviously, you know, from here, x will be 2, or x will be minus 1 over 3, right? Yeah. So these are our x coordinates now of our turning points. Let's not forget. So I'm taking it up here now. And they want us to look for the coordinates of n, which is the minimum turning point. So to get the y values, I'm just going to substitute back into my original formula. Né? So I'm going to have f of 2 being equals to whatever, or f of minus 1 over 3 being equal to 1. So please just punch that in and give me these values quickly, guys.
So why f of 2 ke minus 9?
Okay.
Yeah, f of 2 ke minus 9. Okay.
Yeah. And then what's the other one?
E nngwe ke 100 over 27.
Hmm?
100 over 27. Yeah.
Okay, so now we must choose because we have both our turning points. Which one is my turning point for n? Eh? So look, n is here. This is my origin. Going to the right, that means my x-coordinate must be positive. Then from here, from my x-axis going down, that means my y-coordinate must be negative. So let's see. My x-coordinate, yeah, 2, positive. So I take 2. And then the y-coordinate of 2, which is negative 9. So already it makes sense. Ne? So here you just have to kind of be rational with it. Just think about it. You know, it's not that difficult. It's not that hard. You just have to think about it properly. So here we are. We get our coordinates for n, which is 2 and negative 9. So I guess we are good né? With those two so far. I guess we are good. So I'm just gonna move on. Just gonna move on to the next one. So what do we have now? 8.1.3. So they say for which values of x né, is a, they say f prime x is less than 0. So f prime x is less than 0. So don't forget, we did get our f prime x, né? Which was what? Let me just rewrite it again. So it was 6x squared minus 10x minus 4, right? So already this is a parabola né? With a smiley face. So when they're saying for which values of f prime x is less than 0, what am I going to do? Let me just put everything into concept now. Because I know my coordinates now, my what's this? My turning points, right? So those were my x coordinates. Yeah, those were the x values, which was what 2n minus 1/3, right? Okay, so here they are. So now they're saying when they say for which values of x will f prime x be less than 0? So let's try and understand. So basically, another way of saying f prime x will be less than 0, we can say y will be less than 0. Yeah? So basically, we are saying for which values of x will we have corresponding y values which are less than, no, for, yeah, y values which are less than 0. But then we just want the corresponding values of x. So with that, look at this graph that I have kind of drawn. My graph is made up of my y values, first of all. So I want you guys to look at this. Once I am here by my x-axis that I'm highlighting with the blue, if I go up, I'm having positive y values. Do we agree? Yeah? Please talk to me.
Yeah.
We agree, right?
Okay.
And then even from here, if I go up until positive infinity, I'm having positive values. But then once I go below, now my what's this? Once I go below my x-axis, I'm having negative y values. Do we see that? So basically, my answer is here below my x-axis because I'm looking for y values that are less than 0, and I find them where? Um, below, right? So here where I'm highlighting with a green, but then I'm not going to write it in terms of y values. I'm going to answer this according to my corresponding x values. And how can I answer that according to my corresponding x value? It will be between minus 1 over 3 and 2. Are we seeing that? Ne? Anywhere between minus 1 over 3 and 2, I am going to. So to just test, ne, I want you guys to just, if you substitute any number between minus 1 over 3 and 2 into this formula, you are going to get a negative number. I'm just a way to, to double check. Yeah? But then how you're going to write it, you're basically going to say, since it's between two values, yeah, we are going to put x in the middle, then put two of our inequality sign. And they are always facing where to the left. Yeah? And then on the left, on my far left, I'm going to start with my smaller number, which is minus 1 over 3. Then to the right, I go to the biggest number, which is 2. Then I'm done. So my answer for 8.1.3 will be x is less than 2, but x is greater than minus 1 over 3. Then I get my nice 2 marks. Are we getting that? Ne?
Yeah.
We're kind of getting that. So that question is similar to what you usually get in question 1 for inequalities. Usually that's what they ask. Ne? So in this case, they put it now to question 8, where you're dealing with, calculus. So yeah, so far you have done 3 of your questions. You're in an exam, you're feeling good. You go to the next one. You must try and get everything. So now we are at B, right? So I take it that for this one, there's no misunderstanding for the first one for A, right? So if that's okay, then for B, we are going to say now. Now they say for which values of X is